Happy New Year, everybody, to all our TFT practitioners around the world and the tapping community at large. I just want to say Happy New Year to everybody, and I want to share the new understandings and research that helps support why our tapping and daily tapping actually is beneficial for us in today's world. Last year, I gave some YouTube videos with our basics on them, and I recommended people use them to help with the challenges in today's world. Collarbone breathing exercise, us eliminating the self-sabotage or blocks to healing and to our success, and toxins, which is ubiquitous in the world today, ubiquitous in the world today. So all those things are still very relevant. And what I'm going to do, just share briefly this morning, is the new understandings that we're getting and that science is presenting that helps us understand why daily tapping is so important, and what it can do to help benefit our health. Okay, so first I just want to share Roger was way before his time, way ahead of his time, but he understood certain things that now science is validating. He understood the need for balancing our autonomic nervous system. He understood the need for helping eliminate Rouleaux, I can't say that word, but it's the clumping of red blood cells. And in fact, in his early training presentations, he presented a slide that, and I'll show you this slide, that shows what happens in the blood cells. For instance, when we have flu, he was treating a patient with flu or flu-like symptoms, and it showed the clumping of the red blood cells. Well, in today's world, that's important, and we'll talk about that a little more, but Rouleaux makes the blood cells clump. Oxygen can't get through, the cells can't get through the interstitial spaces. And what he found is with tapping or treating the flu symptoms, okay, the Rouleaux would go down to 0%. And that slide shows the change and why this is important today. There's several things we do in tapping that help that. And why that's important today is because there's new things in our environment that cause that condition of Rouleaux, or the clumping of blood cells, and dramatically affect our health. Those new things, we just learned this from a recent medical presentation, that the new injections, and we've all heard that they have clotting problems, okay? The new injections cause Rouleaux. I'm just going to say Rouleaux and forget the proper pronunciation, okay? They cause it. Also, increased EMF exposure, and most importantly, 5G cause Rouleaux in our blood, which means our breathing is decreased, our respiration is decreased, our ability to maintain oxygen, okay? We get brain fog, we have lack of concentration. Many of these symptoms I'm seeing in clients. Fatigue, for another thing. So daily tapping can help relieve that problem that we're all exposed to from the current new injections and the increased EMF exposure. Okay, so right there, that was something he recognized in the early 90s, actually, in about 1990, and presented. So that's one new understanding of why TFT is so helpful for our daily health. Another thing is newer research and science talking about the vagus nerve, and stimulating the vagus nerve, okay, activates our parasympathetic system. Parasympathetic is rest or digest. Sympathetic is fight or flight. And so what they're finding is that when you can stimulate the parasympathetic, of course, it creates that balance of the autonomic nervous system. It gets you out of that chronic fight or flight mode, which causes chronic stress and inflammation. Okay. Early on, we also found that tapping, TFT to begin with, and then energy psychology did a study also with tapping, general, I think they were using EFT, that showed that it normalizes the cortisol levels. We found that with a study in Japan in the very early 90s as well. When you can normalize the cortisol levels, you reduce again chronic inflammation, chronic stress. So daily tapping will help stimulate the vagus nerve, reduce your stress, your cortisol, and your chronic inflammation. So this is something he recognized decades ago that now newer science is talking about better understandings of why that TFT has made such a difference in people. Another newer understanding is we've been working with trauma forever. We offer the trauma sequence to everybody worldwide, and that's one of the videos, the YouTube videos that I did last year, that you can look at and follow along. Okay, trauma is a precursor to many, many diseases. They're saying there are doctors out there that say it is the beginning of all cancer, many other physical problems, emotional problems. And what Greg Braden is now talking about is after seeing in Candace Pert's work the emotion, what was it? Molecules of emotion, that they found that unresolved trauma, for example, trauma as a young child, that you can't resolve or understand, has corresponding or correlating chemicals, and he calls these neuropeptides, and they get stored in the body. So when you're tapping and releasing these neuropeptides, you're beginning to heal that trauma, the unresolved trauma. And so trauma treatment and daily trauma tapping, especially if you watch the news or if you're in the middle of a situation that you are dealing with today's world, okay? Every day can be traumatic, but you can release that and prevent the storage of those chemicals or neuropeptides in your body, and of course, facilitate and maintain a better health. There's many ways to get daily tapping sequences at all levels, and we offer it for free with the YouTube videos. Then we also offer various levels of training. The newest one this last year is probably one of the most important, and it's just a half-day class on toxins. The whole world is inundated with toxins, and now there's a greater understanding of all chronic conditions, including cancer, and they say and believe that they're all due to toxins. And toxins can be environmental, ingested, applied, breathed or inhaled, and EMFs. All right, and they're everywhere. It's ubiquitous. So the ability to clearly identify what's harming you, and because everybody's different, and then neutralize that or mitigate that also is vastly contributes to everybody's overall health. So we now have a toxin class that everybody can get, which teaches the self-testing, objective self-testing for identifying and neutralizing toxins. Then we have our online courses for online certification training. And we recently did a survey of our well-being webinar attendees, finding what interests them the most. And so this year we'll have a monthly mentoring well-being webinar. It'll be based on your responses, based on what you need most in today's world. And each one of those classes, I will give a tapping sequence that will address that focus, that area of focus. So those are low cost, regular updates on whatever we're finding. I spend many hours every week listening to, reading, and researching new ways and understandings for improving what we can do with TFT. And then those things I pass on in our advanced level trainings and in our monthly webinars. So I just want to, again, emphasize how important it is for many reasons to do some daily tapping, okay? It helps eliminate the rouleau, it balances our autonomic nervous system, it reduces chronic stress, which reduces chronic inflammation. All of these things are affecting our health today. And you see, you can read all the statistics on the news, everything, Google, whatever, about the increased need for mental health and increased tools that everybody needs to cope in today's world and remain healthy. So I believe we have a lot of tools. There's tools for every level of application. And I want to wish you all a really happy new year and invite you to use some of these tools to help maintain your health and well-being for 2022. Thank you.